What is good and what is going on, everyone? It is your boy elbichotedeforex, and welcome to my YouTube channel. As a reminder, trading with real money does involve risks, and by participating in the markets as a market participant, you agree to accept those risks. I am not a qualified nor a licensed financial advisor. I do not provide personal investment advice, and any and all content that is shared is strictly for purposes of education as well as information. So therefore, I cannot and will not be held liable for any information that is shared within this channel. So without further ado, mi gente, let's get to them charts. Dale, no fuimos a fuego. Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you guys how to effectively draw support and resistance zones. These are areas in the market where price likes to take breaks and pauses and decide what it wants to do next. This is usually reflected by brief consolidation or ranging, but not always. In fact, most often price will either respect the zone and completely bounce away, or it'll completely violate the zone and continue right through it. Support and resistance is also one of the most talked about fundamental components of technical analysis in the financial markets, and it can also be applied to pretty much any asset in the foreign exchange market, cryptocurrency market, the stock market, or even indices. It's also a very subjective topic because what I mean by that is it's not a clear cut and dry as you may think it is. If you were to have 10 people in the same room and ask them all to draw out support and resistance, I can practically guarantee you that each person is going to see them differently, and it's going to be reflected when you compare their chart markups. By no means am I saying that my way is the right way. Rather, I'm strictly just going to show you guys, what has worked for me personally, and quite well, I might add. I've outlined the 4 steps that I personally take, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to do them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so I'm going to be using the chart of GBP USD, or the Great Britain pound versus United States dollar. So first step, you guys want to go ahead and select your time frame. So the higher the time frame, the more higher the probability, I should say, it is that the market is going to, give you that reaction that you're looking for at the zone. So in this case, you guys can see that I started on the daily chart and now I've moved down to the 4-hour chart. Next, you want to change the chart type from candlesticks to line. And what that does, it kind of eliminates the noise for you, because candlesticks show you extreme highs, extreme lows. The line only shows you true price action. And that's very key because you want to find high probability zones. Next, you want to locate support and resistance zones. So we're going to go ahead and start out with the resistance zones. So what you're looking for is the market to be trending in an upward nature, kind of, price moving upward. And then you want to look for places where market kind of hit and then reverse the opposite way just completely. Kind of like if you had a ball and you threw it at the ceiling, and obviously, the ball's going to bounce back downward. That's exactly what you want for these resistance zones. And also, the more touches, the better, but at the end of the day, even one touch is, it's still considered a zone. So don't let that deter you if you find only just like one touch, but definitely more touches, the better. And kind of, there's really no set limit on how many zones, you can mark up. But in order to kind of have like a clean chart, I don't really recommend putting a lot of zones up. Kind of the way I do it, I look at where price is at currently, and then I try to find about 3 support zones under current price. And then I find about 3 resistance zones above price. So kind of, what I'm doing right now, I'm not really worrying too much about being very specific. I'm literally just finding these zones and marking them up. And, I'll show you guys a little bit later in this video how you can go about cleaning it up and, making it more relevant. So right now, so I've already marked up, a bunch of resistance zones. Now I'm going to show you guys a couple of support zones right here. And also, it's your preference, but I personally like to use this rectangular drawing tool just because, I like to look at these support and resistance, as zones, not really like lines on your chart. You can also mark it up with lines, but just keep in mind that it's a zone, and not really just a line, because the market doesn't respect lines, but it respects zones. So for the next part, let's go ahead and refine the support and resistance zones. What I mean by refine is just kind of like clean it up here. So, in the previous step, we went ahead and found these support and resistance zones, and we just kind of like marked it up, just kind of as is with our rectangular drawing tool. But, we weren't really worrying too much about becoming super specific. So now on this step, that's what we want to do. We really want to get very, very nitty gritty and make this very specific. So the way you do that, you kind of like reconcile the difference between like the end of the full body candle and then the end of the extreme wick. So what I mean by that, as you can see here, I'm literally finding where the full body candle ends, and then I'm moving the rest of the zone to the end of the wick. So the purposes of that, you're kind of like reconciling or finding the difference between where the market wanted to go versus where the market actually ended and closed at. And that's very important because, again, like I mentioned previously, the market, it doesn't respect lines. It's not just going to hit your line and then, do what you want it to do. Well, first of all, it's never going to do what you want to do. Like, let's just be honest. Like, if we had that power, then everyone would be like 7-figure traders. But since we don't have, the ability to make the market do what we do, all we can do is just try to better our odds by, doing certain things, that's going to increase the probabilities of the trade, going in our favor. So, kind of like what I was mentioning, as far as the market respecting a zone, a zone gives you a lot more leeway, a lot more flexibility, and it kind of, helps your emotions a lot better just because, a lot of traders in the beginning, you're focused on just creating a line, right? And then you see the market totally disrespect your line and not respect it at all. You start getting emotional, you start panicking and, kind of second guessing your analysis, thinking you may have done it wrong. And the next thing you know, it does exactly what you wanted to do. And either, you maybe you're still in the trade and, things are good and gravy, or maybe, you kind of just proactively got yourself out of that trade, took a little loss or a big loss, and then just only see it go in your direction. So that's why by creating these zones, you kind of, you give yourself more leeway. You kind of just, give yourself a rough idea. And even if the market kind of goes outside of the zone, that's why you don't trade support and resistance, alone. Like that shouldn't be the only reason you're going to specifically place your trade. I'm not saying you can't, some people do, but me personally, I'm not going to just specifically trade only because of support and resistance. I like to compile them, with other confirmations. I consider myself an institutional trader, so therefore I look for institutional points of interest, like institutional candles, imbalances, kind of areas where the institutions are going to look to mitigate, so I can kind of jump in, that trade with them. But I won't touch too much on this video because that's not what it's for. Other things I might look for is like Fibonacci retracement levels, divergences in the markets, and kind of things of that nature. All right, so if you guys like what you guys saw today, please feel free to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's going to be more content just like this coming out here shortly in the near future. Also, if you guys are interested in learning how to trade, check out that the top right. That's some trades that I did personally with the GBP, CHF or Swiss franc. If you guys are looking to learn how to trade, please contact me as well, and I can definitely help you become a profitable trader. Nos fuimos.